Kei Cities presents a new concept of city, a new generation of regenerative cities, designed to meet today's needs and preserve resources for future generations. Welcome to Aguaduna, the first Kei Cities development, located on the northwest coast of Brazil. Aguaduna is a preserved natural development that will provide services to its citizens and its immediate surroundings, increasing their quality of life. It is replicable anywhere in the world. A sustainable, innovative, and technological circular city. The city's organic food chain combines self-sourcing with a network of local producers and a blockchain-based traceability system. Regenerative urban agriculture that, in addition to offering fresh and nutritious products, contributes to climate change mitigation thanks to soil carbon sequestration. Passive architecture using local or recycled materials. Clean, shared, autonomous and affordable mobility designed for the well-being of people and the environment. Micro-mobility that provides a more practical, pleasant and efficient daily life. Aguaduna, an efficient city, capable of making predictions and optimizing systems. A platform that facilitates the management and fosters research and collaboration for testing innovative solutions. Its technological center will attract national and international talent, generate and thousands of skilled jobs. Aguaduna. A new way of life. Kei Resilient Cities.
Okay, so to give a little bit of context of some of the problems as a company we want to address. Well, first of all, a question for the audience: which one of you would like to live in Brazil, in Bahia, near the beach, good weather, samba, carnival, very charming people? I know that Maria Isabel, that has been in that region, she could do.
Yeah.
But after we dream that we are there and we face reality and we are there and we see, okay, but where is the school for my kids? Where is the hospital when I'm sick? Where are the shops, the restaurants, entertainment and cultural offer? Where are the job opportunities, right? And despite of the quality of life and being in a very in an environment that would give you like a very good quality of life from the point of view of sustainability, at the end we need services, we need job opportunities. So and this problem has happening in all the world with the migration of the people to the cities. So many areas get unpopulated and with the time with no services, with not basic infrastructures, and that it's the problem that Kei Cities as a company it's fighting with his new city model, right? We call this model cell city, as it's a kind of new development that it's able to create new services and to be a hub of services for the region, and create a new economy. So we need, when we do the, when we think about our projects, we think first about, we study the region, the surroundings, the local communities, the environment, the economic activities, and we try to understand them, because at the end we can do projects that are isolated and doesn't take into account what we have around us, but we have to be, on the contrary, we have to understand it and to be connected to generate those synergies. So it's important here also that we are able to create an economy, a productive area that help us to balance all what could be a sustainability, quality of life, services. So here would be the way we work. So we understand that context. We design the projects, the cities, these intelligent and sustainable urban environments. We apply different innovations through our the strategic partners that we integrate in the projects, and then we implement the project and we act as a city operator, managing the services and the infrastructures. And last phase would be certify and scale, so that we have a data framework where we understand how are we performing, what is our performance in terms of quality of service, but also in sustainability, and certify those outcomes. So all the organization, it's focused to improve those KPIs. Okay, so here we have like 4 goals we have as organization, and that are present in all our projects, as environment impact and sustainability by using green infrastructures and data management. We also implement food systems to integrating local farmers and producing and promoting the consumption of local products. That also helps to reduce the carbon print. We have a very big focus on innovation and digitalization. We leverage the environments we create as a living lab, so our partners and the innovation ecosystems that we create can use the city as a living lab, as a way to accelerate their innovation processes. And finally, we have the goal to, in the future, to be carbon neutral, and trying to generate these different technologies and strategies that help us with this goal. Okay, and here we have a Kei index that will be, it's the platform that we are developing to generate all those KPIs and certifications, and that also will use artificial intelligence to understand the impacts of the different strategies and technologies we are using, so we can optimize them. Okay, and here I will give some numbers about the project, and also give some context. So Aguaduna it's in Brazil, in the state of Bahia. It's at the north of the capital, Salvador de Bahia. It's a region that where the tourism has been developed. It's similar maybe as other touristic regions like Riviera Maya or Playa Babor and Dominican Republic. Okay, but only that you only find hotels and resorts and vacational residences, but nobody goes to live there because this lack of services I was explaining at the beginning. No, so in our first analysis of the region, we always try to understand what are the strengths and the weakness and the opportunities we have in every project. So here we know that in Brazil, security and mobility are two of the big issues that we address in the project, and also we take advantage of the green energy opportunities that there are in the country and specifically in that region with solar energy and wind energy. In Brazil, in general, mobility it's a bad experience. So people spend a lot of time in their cars. Public transport infrastructure in general is not good. So here we try to change the mentality of the local people, that is they are used to take a car for everything. Also because security, they feel more safe on the cars, and then you don't find people on walking in the streets because they are afraid. So we are changing all that. We are talking of an area of around 1,000 hectares. We forecast that we'll have close to 60,000 residents and users, between also including workers and tourists. And in this project, as I was saying at the beginning, that we always integrate strategic partners that help us to from the beginning to co-design the different infrastructures and services. So they were invited to the process, and they will be also in the future. They will be the operators of the different services. So we have like companies like Siemens, Atos, SegurPro, that it's Prosegur. Enel, also what Daniel was explaining before, it's the research centers like Cimatec help us to attract talent, to generate the first jobs, the first demand for the project. We have the support of the regional government of Bahia. Also from UN, WTO, the tourist agency of the UN, and AI companies like Victoria's, where we will map all the ecosystems and generate NFTs that will generate resources, revenues that will finance all the IoTs that will be implemented to monitor all the preserved areas, all the biodiversity, and will help us to understand how to preserve and regenerate better those ecosystems. And now Karim will give you more insights about the mobility and other subjects.
Thank you, Manuel. I'm Karim Masri. I'm happy today because I think I'm not the most difficult name to pronounce today. So it's good. I liked, by the way, the presentation of Hyundai's colleague. I'm really glad to see that the car companies are making this transition from, build and sell cars to providing mobility services. Good to know. And I'm gonna share a few thoughts about mobility with you. So let's start thinking. I think we could all agree if we say that cities are not as healthy, as efficient, as enjoyable as they could be, right? And the problem is pretty much about cars. Also buildings, but let's talk about cars today. So, so the car is really useful. I mean, it's a tough opponent to deal with because it's really useful. It gives us freedom of movement, but it also has several problems, right? So it occupies most of the urban space. And this is a real problem. I'm talking about 60, 70, even 80% of the urban space occupied by cars, dedicated to cars, which is a big problem, of course. Okay, I wanted to share this kind of experiment some people in Seattle did. It's an exercise to visualize this issue. So here we're seeing 200 people in cars, without cars, on bikes, and on 3 buses. There's also more examples, but to see really we are occupying much space with cars, right? They are also noisy, which makes cities stressful and depressing. I've got here a map of Barcelona. It looks like a street map, but it's not. It's a noise map. So here it's very clear that we can see that cars are making the most noise of the city. But they are also bringing pollution to the air, which is obviously a big problem for climate change, sustainability, human health, and everything. And they are expensive. They are expensive to buy. You have to pay for the fuel, the parking lot, the insurance. Everything is expensive, and the cars stay 90% of the time parked. We only use it 10%, so it doesn't really make that sense, right? Okay, so how are we going to deal with this? Sorry if my English is not very fluent. I'm really trying my best here, okay? How are we going to deal with it? At least, how do we see mobility in Kei Cities? First thing, we want to take advantage of the fact that Aguaduna and other developments we're in is a greenfield. We build it from scratch. So we can start thinking from zero, as our colleague Natalia always say. And this gives us opportunities to make decisions like this. Okay, we're going to have clean energy. No combustion cars are going to be allowed in Aguaduna. It's a small city. We're talking about 60,000 people at top. Nothing to do with Seoul, of course. You cannot do that in Seoul. But in Aguaduna we can. We're going to have a single entrance of the city with a big facility we call intermodal. So you can get there with your own car and park it there if it's combustion one, and then grab another electric car or choose between all the options that the mobility options that the city will offer. That's it. Buses, some of them autonomous for particular uses. I think we're going to have a tram, but with no railways. Doesn't make sense right now. Strong, really strong public transportation system, because we would like to incentivize people to walk, active mobility in general, which you need to move your body. Sorry, I need to drink water. Active mobility, I've seen many studies that show that it has a real big impact only implementing a few strategies about this mobility, active mobility. We have to think all journeys in public transportation start and end walking. That is a good thing. We move ourselves and we are healthier. We're talking about big numbers. I mean, like 50% of reduction in colon cancers cases, diseases, or 30% in breast cancer. We don't have to take those numbers so serious, but it makes us think, right? So we want our space to be walkable, to be enjoyable. We want to integrate nature in it because it's obvious that nature feels good to people. I mean, several studies support that it just feels good. So we will understand the reasons at some point, but for now, just put trees on the street. Come on. So we're gonna have, of course, sharing services. I mean, cycles, motorcycles, e-scooters, whatever. Some autonomous vehicles, because they are not ready now, but we can use them, for example, for delivery or maybe for some shuttles of, for instance, if you want to get to the entrance, from the entrance of Aguaduna to a single hotel, we can do fixed lines of this. And of course, digitalization, we'll talk about this later, but we really need it to reduce cost and to be more sustainable. It's really, really useful. This is how the entrance of Aguaduna would look like. So you enter walking or whatever, and you have many options of transportations. I'm gonna just skip these two slides if you don't mind. Okay, so the point is, all of these concepts we're talking about, I'm glad to know we are quite aligned. All the people talking here is quite in the same line. But I personally believe this won't be enough. This won't be enough to meet our main objective. We have a really important goal here, which is, okay, we want to design mobility systems, mobility services, which are high quality, of course. You don't beat the car otherwise. Sustainable, of course, because, you know, if we extinct, we cannot follow anything. And the most important thing, affordable, because if they are expensive, you don't solve the problem. So, at this point, I have to be honest with you, I really don't know how to do it. I think anyone does exactly how to achieve these fully sustainable systems, but also affordable. This is a real challenging issue, and we have to innovate. We have to innovate, and we have to collaborate because of this reason. No? So, at this point, we in Kei Cities want to take advantage of building the cities in stages, in different phases. Because in phase one, okay, we're gonna do our best. We have quite sustainable systems to implement and robust. I mean, I don't know if this is correct in English, robust, but stable. We don't want to be testing with basic infrastructure. That's clear, right? But when there's people living in phase one in Aguaduna for the first time, we're going to have massive amount of real data. Not personal data, we don't need it, we don't like it, it's okay. But really useful data and real data that will help us improve all systems, optimize everything, and especially improve, do it better in phase two, right? So this is a quick slides of how Aguaduna will grow. So at phase 6, I really hope that we achieve this balance between affordable and sustainable. Okay, so how I said, we need to innovate, right? We're gonna have a cluster here, of course. We don't really want to enter in competitions with other people making the same all around the world. I think we need to test, how could I say it? So cities are so complex, so big and complex, many people moving around, many things going on in there. And it's on a scale that maybe if you make decisions based on intuition, you may have unexpected results. It could not work, right? So we have, I think we all agree, seeing your presentations, that we have to measure things. We have to make a deal. Let's see how we measure everything, what indicators do we look at, right? And just testing things, testing technologies, testing strategies going on in other administrations, and share this knowledge. I mean, I think well, I wanted to explain a couple of examples of projects that we could be doing in Aguaduna. Of course, it will be depending on the members of the cluster. We will have universities and administrations and citizens and companies and startups and everything working together to come up with new solutions and test them. And so, but there are ones that we need to solve. There's things that we haven't solved before building Aguaduna. For example, this delivery thing I was talking before. We don't want to have Amazon and DHL vans all around the corners. We don't really want. We'll see what we get, but this is an innovation opportunity that we could make pilots of in other cities before Aguaduna exists to solve this basic issue that we need. But also we can dream a little bit, right? We can, once we have the basic infrastructures working, we can dream a little bit. For example, we like to think in buses, for example, every part of the infrastructure, in public infrastructure of the city, we like to think of it like, well, we like to extend its uses as much as possible. For example, we can try to put some sensors in the buses to check constantly the quality of air, right? Or we can put GPS and vibration sensors to manage the maintenance of the streets. Because if you vibrate somehow, you can analyze the data and detect, a hole in the street. These are just examples, but I wanted to say that I think that, okay, we can try many solutions. We're going to come up with some good solutions, of course, some strategies, but the most important thing that we can do here, I'm concerned about the positive impact, which is very limited if you build a 60,000 people city. We're not going to change the world with this kind of city. In Seoul, there's 60,000 in every corner. So what I think we have to do is innovate, is testing things, and especially collaborating. Sharing this knowledge to help existing big cities to improve and learn from each other, which would be nice. So let's talk. That is it. If you have any questions.
Can I ask you, yes, well, any question or comment? Yes, go first.
Treat me well.
So I think that the challenge will be later when we try to get all this innovation to a brownfield city, no? Something that is already but is the idea of Aguaduna is to have it as a lab and extract that innovation and then scale it in other different cities.
Well, we want to be a happy, resilient city. We want people to be happy in our city. We want to be nice, and we want it to be, Brazilian worth city. But I think that the most important thing we can achieve is generating this so needed knowledge and share it with that huge huge cities and companies, and in general, I think we can change the direction of innovation, collaborating with citizens and companies, because we can drive this innovation into things that people need. I mean, it's the demand revolution, right? So, yeah, I think that's the most important thing we can do. Yeah. I don't know if I answered. I really tried hard to answer your. Okay.
Any other question? Yes, Damien?
No, you have two of us. Hey, I don't need to train today. It will be nice. No.
Come on, you know more about this than me.
How free are you from the current regulation of the city or national level regulations and codes?
Well, do you want to know?
Well, in our case, we say we are a city, but formally we are a private condominium. Mm-hmm. So we have like a lot of room to decide the different rules and enable these pilots and tests in the city. But here the difference with the traditional condominium in Brazil, that it's a closed environment where nobody from that no lives there. If they don't live, you can go inside. Here it would be different. It will be a controlled access, so we know who is entering, but it will be a free access. So the experience should be like to be in a normal city,
but not the regulations. The regulations
so we
might be more helpful than normal cities, right?
Yeah. So here we have. Okay.
Very briefly, as we are approaching almost the time, but I'm curious about this innovation model, and could you maybe elaborate a little bit more? How is it about where it will be located? Will it be in Brazil, or it will be open to any startup or idea? What stage of companies, for instance, in startups are you looking for? More early stage or already seed? Or I mean, how will you deploy this innovation model?
Okay. Here, it will be deployed by phases, okay, and together with several innovation partners, and that include I think it was here, Cimatec, well, a technological. It's a current research center that it's in Bahia. That it's a private research center, financed by the Brazilian industry. It's one of the best of the whole Brazil. They will have like presence there, and they will be like a kind of operators of the innovation cluster. Okay, we will add an open innovation operator that will do the link between the startups and the corporates. On a first phase, the startups will be like more mature, more not so early stage, but and our objective is that new seed and early stage startups also put there. Here it's the big role is all the partners that I showed you before. They are committing to be part of that ecosystem. So the startups will be close to the potential customers. Also, they will have this tech park that they are already working with it, but here will be like more focused on tourism, smart city application, sustainability. So it will be different from we have now there. Here also the government is also helping studying different kind of tax and economic and regulatory incentives, so the corporates and the startups will establish there. We're also in the process to attract universities and venture capitals that also complement all this ecosystem. And here the idea is that it could be also connected. So we only imagine this as a connected cluster, so it will have to be connected with other clusters, first regionally in Salvador de Bahia, Masri, that is an industrial pole, but in Brazil with Sao Paulo and Curitiba, that it's like the smart city hub in Brazil. And also we expect to have international connections, and because we have not talked about timings, but we'll need like around 3 years, between 3-4 years, to make Aguaduna a physical reality. But we want to begin to that all these innovation processes began to happen next year. So we'll have a virtual platform, so we can begin to put together all these pieces.
Thank you. Well, last question or comment? No?
Okay.
Okay, we are out of the time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Amazing project you are facing. How many years you expect?
15 or so, no?
15 years?
3-4 years. The first
3-4
phase,
years,
the first phase, the whole project, we expect in 12-15 years.
12-15 years. Amazing. This kind of new implementation. I mean, I would have a lot of questions that probably I will ask you, and I will not let you.